Hi everyone, this is Rohit from All Inside Technical Zone. Today I am going to cover most important topic for all manual testers and the automation testers. And this topic is also important according to the interview point of view. And this is the most important and frequently asked question into the interviews. This topic is also important for those peoples who wants to switch from the manual testing to automation testing, and those are who already working in automation testing. So for them, this session will be more beneficial. So please watch this session till end. And in this session, I will cover what are the different components available into the automation framework. Basically, now these days we can create a automation framework. You know, custom framework we can create, and we can create a already created framework which is available into the market, but it's better we create a new framework from the scratch, that is a custom framework. So if we talk about the test automation framework, so what we understand that test automation, okay, so test automation means we are trying to automate our test. But what does it mean framework? So framework means framework defines a set of rules or best practices that we can follow in a systematic way to achieve the desired results. So the test automation framework deals with the best practices to achieve the goals of our automation project. Okay, so basically, automation we used to do basic for our the to test our the web applications by using a Selenium. So this test automation framework basically encapsulated with the Selenium framework. So Selenium framework we talk about. So code is basically the Selenium code structures help us to reuse the code and reuse. Reduce the code maintenance, higher code readability, and allow multiple users to work on the same piece of the program. Okay, so let's move ahead. So another question arises comes into the mind when we talk about the framework. So why do we need the Selenium framework, or why do we need this test automation framework? Actually, the thing is that the main purpose of using the test framework, first thing, easy code maintenance. Okay, and second thing, increase the code reusability. Third, higher code readability, reduce script maintenance cost, and reduce test execution time as well, and reduce human efforts. And last thing is that easy reporting. So these are the basic fundamentals which helps the end users who are working in IT industries, or who wants to uh, create some framework, and their work is very high, so they are trying to reduce their work pressure. So that's why we are using a test automation here, and the basic purpose of creating a, a framework here. So without wasting time, let me take you to the different components available into the test automation framework. So there are several components. So see, as you can see that there are multiple components available into the framework. While creating a custom framework, we can include all these components into the framework. So there is no ordering in this in the I mean to creating a framework. But these are the basics components that must include into the framework. First thing is that IDE. IDE is basically integrated development environment, and I'll explain you later in this session what is IDE. And then another component is language. Third is project structure. Fourth, type of framework. Fifth, design pattern technique. Sixth, property files, test data, testing frameworks, screenshots, reports, logs, build tool, version tools, version control tools, and the CI tools, basically continuous integration. So let's take you to another slide where we will talk about all these things, all these components into the more detail, so that you would get to know that how we can create and how we can explain our test automation is framework into the interview, and how to create from the scratch. So first thing, the IDE, this is integrated development environment. Basically, IDE is a place, we can say IDE is a tool or it is a kind of software where we, our framework basically build it. So Eclipse, this is a IDE, this is frequently used into the market. I mean, into the all commercial or into the all companies or the corporate industry. In the same way, Visual Studio and IntelliJ, Inite Studio, NetBeans, and JSource. So basically, these are the most commonly used IDE tools that we use to build our framework from the scratch. And these are the tools are freely available into the market. You can directly download from the internet and you can install it and then you can start using on in your local machine. You no need to pay anything for those freeware tools. But yes, there are some paid versions also available, but your freeware version is also available to start your work. You don't need to pay anything. Another thing is that language. So basically, if we are trying to create some framework, so if I talk about Selenium automation framework, if we are using testing with Java with Selenium or Java, I mean C Sharp with Selenium, Python with Selenium. So basically, in framework of Selenium, we can use any language, even though Selenium supports multiple languages. We are maximum using Java languages is just because most of the automation developers have knowledge on Selenium with Java. Okay, so we can use multiple languages here as well. So third component is project structure. So project structure is basically we create into our Eclipse or Visual Studio or into the IntelliJ. So this is basically the skeleton which help us to create a project into our inside the our IDE. So we can create either the Maven project, Gradle project, general project, or EJB project. So it is up to the you or it is a user's choice how they are prefer and how they are comfortable with type of project. Basically, this gives you some predefined structure into the your structure inside the your framework. So again, it is up to you. You can use either of the one, but I would prefer if you really wants to create a framework or you want some easy way or you are eager to learn, so I would suggest you go with the Maven project where you will get a lot of the things. Another is the type of frameworks. Another thing is keep in mind that there are several frameworks inside the test automation framework. I mean, what approach we are actually following to create our test automation framework here. So we have a multiple frameworks like linear scripting, modular testing, library architecture testing, data-driven testing, keyword-driven testing, hybrid testing, and behavioral-driven development testing. But I will talk about only few, which is more demanding and which is more useful for you as per the our test automation framework. First is linear scripting. Basically, linear scripting framework is a basic level of a test automation framework that is in the form of the only the record and a play. Okay. And another is a modular testing framework. In the modular testing framework, testers I mean the tester creates test scripts module wise by breaking down the complete application under test into the smaller and independent tests. And another important framework, I mean, the approach is data driven. Basically, what happens in a data driven test automation framework is focused on separating the test scripts logic and the test data from each other. It allows us to create a test automation script by passing, by passing different set of test data. The test dataset is kept into the external files or resources such as MS Excel file, .csv file, and MS Access table, and SQL database, XML files, and JSON file, and etc. There are so many. And another important approach is hybrid driven. So hybrid is another most frequently used in the market. So I mean, yeah, this is the most of the teams are building this type of hybrid framework in the current market. And the purpose of this and the main purpose of this hybrid test automation framework is that the combination of two or more frameworks. Okay, let's suppose there is key driven, I mean data driven and the linear framework. So you can combine both of the framework. It is up to you if you want to combine both framework. And it is the leverage the strength and the benefit of the others framework for the particular test environment. Okay. And the last is the behavior driven development. And basically the purpose of the behavior driven development is to create a platform where that allow everyone like you know, business analytics, I mean BA, developers, testers, manager, etc., who are working into the team to participate actively. Okay, and it requires increased collaboration between the team. And and it is also one thing is that basically this BDD framework uses the Gherkin syntax like given, when, and then. Okay, so these are the very helpful and a very easy to use kind of framework. Next thing, the design pattern technique. Actually, this is the most important component while creating our test automation framework. As per the page object model, uh, we have to maintain a class for every web pages. Each web page has a separate classes, and that class holds the functionalities and members of the web pages. Separate classes for individual test uh, packages. We have a separate packages for pages and tests. Okay, and all the web pages related classes come under the pages packages, and all the test related class comes under the test packages. For example, okay, let me give you some example here. So let's suppose there is a home page and there is a login page. They have a both separate classes, and to store the element locators. For the login test, there would be a separate class which calls the methods from the home page class and the login page class. And the same way, we have a utility class as well that stores and handles the functions. Basically, that function, basically that code which is repetitive in nature, such as like wait hai, actions, capturing a screenshot, accessing Excel file, or sending emails, generating reports, etc., which can be commonly used across the entire framework. Okay, I mean the main reason behind creating a utility class is to achieve the reusability. If you see here, so you as you can see that this is a project, okay, and this is the SRC main Java. This is a source package, and within a source package we have a multiple packages. Basically, in that packages it contains. I mean that packages contains this list of dot Java file, and basically that is page classes. And this is a okay, and another is SRC Java and SRC test Java. This contains the tests. This package contains the test cases. So this is basically this defines the page object model structure here, wherein this package contains the data providers and another package contains the helpers to which is required to throughout using I mean the code which is used throughout the framework, and another is pages. Here all the web pages are including in this, and the utility, and there is some test cases. Okay, another is properties. Uh, Another thing is the property files. Basically, this thing is that mm, uh, basically the file. I would say the config.property. Okay, that store the informations. I mean that store the information that remains static throughout the framework, such as specific browser informations, application URLs, screenshot path, or some other informations, etc. Okay, so these are comes under the properties, and another is test data. So test data is also important. So test data will kept into the Excel sheet or .csv file, .ado file, .json file. So we pass the test data and handle the data-driven testing by using Apache POI libraries or to handle the Excel sheets, and we can use different drivers as well. Okay, to create, I mean to establish a connection between the database and all that. So another component is testing framework. Basically, we have two type of testing framework which is frequently used into the test automation framework. One is TestNG and another is a JUnit. Both TestNG and the JUnit is a testing unit framework designed to simply broad range of testing needs. TestNG JUnit basically we use for to execute all the test cases, and it is also used for the to implement the assertions over the test cases and grouping the test cases. We can group all the test cases, and it is also used for the parallel executions. Another component is screenshots. Basically, while the execution, there may be chances our test case might be fail, or there are some chances our all the test case got passed. So there is if there is some failure or there is some pass, so it is step by step. It creates it takes a screenshot of all these steps into the test cases. So we can create a folder inside the framework, and that can contains the screenshot as well. If I would say in a simple word, so a screenshot will be captured and stored in a separate folder, and also a screenshot of the failed test cases will be added into the extent report. Now we'll talk about the extent report as well. Here, yes, this is the reporting. So as per the report, we can create a customized and embedded HTML report. Well, we have a different kind of reports available into the market: extent report, LEO report, report portal, etc. It is up to you in which report you want to use. So, if you ask me, so which I would love to use the extent report here. And LEO report is also good, but later on I'll see you one of the framework has how it has been designed. So I using this the extent report that I'll show you later. The logs basically as the report is important, the logs is also important because it is helps to debugging the cause of the failures. So logs help us to identify the reason of the failure. So it is also we use the logs. So for the logs we are using we can use the log4j, and even we can use extent report here for custom logs, because inside the extent report I mean in the extent report there is some feature that can help us to generate a log, and that can be more is that is more I mean more good as per the logs. Another is build tool. So we have multiple build tools like Maven hai, Gradle hai. So there are multiple build tools. Basically, build tool help us using Maven or Gradle. We can use for build, execution, and dependencies purposes. Integrating our dependencies inside the form.xml file. Basically, this is Maven project that contains a form.xml file, and in same way, there is some Gradle file that contains the any .gradle extensions, and by running the that file we run, so it is basically includes all the dependencies into the our test automation framework to run the our test cases or test scripts. So build tool is also important to make a build of our to make a build of our test automation project. Like there are some few frequently used command like Maven clean, Maven update, Maven run. So there are multiple commands of the Maven, and as same as the Gradle as well. There are several commands. So next thing is that versioning control tool. So we have if our code is ready and everything is ready, so we want that our code should be kept at one place at a central repository where everybody into the team can access the same code. So we have a Git repository and a Mercurial repository as well. It is user's choice which type of repository they wants to use here. So mostly people use Git repository instead of Mercurial, and Git is a repository, and to access this repository we basically use a Bitbucket, GitHub, these kind of the web-based hosting platform. So Bitbucket is a kind of web-based hosting platform that work with the Git. Okay, and we can use a different kind of commands to work with the Git, like Git pull, push, merge. There are so many commands. For Git, I'll create a one separate tutorials, so that will be more in a detail. Okay, but 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 for the timing there is some only we are talking about the versioning control tool where we can kept our code in a safe manner, and that can be stored and this can be reusable by the other team as well. And last thing is that once our code is ready, so last thing is that our CI tool, I mean the continuous integration tool. So for CI, we have a Jenkins and a TeamCity. These two types of tools are frequently used into the market. So Jenkins is a freeware as well again, and TeamCity it is a paid and the free version both are available into the market. But mostly people are prefer the Jenkins because it is very easy to use and it is very easy to configure with your automation project. So Jenkins, by using a Jenkins CI, we execute our test cases on a daily basis, and also we can schedule a job as per our need. That test result will be sent over the peer Jenkins, and we can uh, get a report on your mail ID as well, or everywhere if you want to. There are several plugins are available into the Jenkins, so you can use it. So these are the important components are available into the our test automation framework. So if you see here, this is a sample structure of our test automation architecture. If you see the from the start, I mean from the top, so you see that there is some this is the project structure. This is basically the Maven project where it shows the M. Okay, this is a project. This is a Maven project structure. And another thing is that you can see that there are different packages are available which defines the page object model where it contains the packages, pages, test class, and utilities. And second thing is that the .config file, I mean .config.properties file, where it contains all the static data are available into the this .properties file. And another is that the compiler and the system files. Basically, we need to include some one of the libraries according to the our project requirement, and what type of languages we are using here, so that we require some libraries. Okay, and another is that the logs and the report. So once our text execution is completed, so logs file is also generated. So logs file can be a .log file or .html file. It is up to you how you can configure your log file. And the same way, once report is executed, your HTML report will be created. So once you open this report, your all everything you will be see all the report according to your executed test cases. The pom.xml file, it contains the Maven dependencies to, as I said, okay, and we can also basically we need to running this pom.xml file using the Jenkins. We have to integrate that pom.xml file with the Jenkins to schedule a job, and every time it includes, I mean it download all the dependencies using a pom.xml file, and basically it is a heart of our Maven based project, I would say. So you can use pom.xml file here for Maven dependencies. And last is the test.ng. I mean the test.ng.xml. Basically, it is used test execution file where we used to run our all the test cases where we can group and combine, and you know we can grouping and parallel execution we can use. We just provide some tagging here inside the test.ng.xml file. We can create it. So if in a simple word, if I summarize all those things, so what are the things you need to take care while creating a any of the automation framework from the scratch? First, include a Maven. I mean, include a take care of your project structure. Another is use a design pattern technique. Third, use some properties file or test data file where you can maintain it. And another is you have to include the logs and reporting as well. And another thing is that you must include your uh, some compiler as well or some dependencies which include that, and one is a test runner. So these are the component must have in your automation framework, so that can be easily that can you can do if you create, if you include those component into your framework, so you can easily create your framework and that can be used anywhere. And this is the most easiest way to create a framework. If anybody, if interviewer asks you this type of question, please explain me the your automation framework or your automation architecture. So you must keep in mind that these are the components you have to explain into the interview, so that so that interview must know that you are already working on a automation framework. And this is also important for the manual testers who are starting to work in a automation profile. So they must have an idea about the framework architecture. So please take care this thing as well into mind. Okay, thank you everyone. I hope you like this video. Uh, if you want to learn more technical stuff, please put your comment into the comment section. I would be happy to create a new video for you, whatever topic you want. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe with your friends. Thank you so much.